Hello and welcome to another episode of the Polo Punt Club Podcast. Jonesy, another week, another meeting to dissect.
Mate, how good?
I know. I can't wait for it. No Group 1s this week, but
It's not.
nonetheless, there's some pretty red hot Group 2s down in Sydney.
There is, and a few horses which are sure to feature heavily in the spring racing as well.
Right you are. You are.
Yep.
Alrighty, mate. Let's just get straight stuck into the agenda.
Whoa,
Can't wait.
I'm
I've
excited.
got a feeling in my waters.
Do ya?
Yeah.
I had a feeling in my waters last week. It didn't come fully to fruition, but
All right. Let's do a brief recap. So your roughie of the day ran a really nice second.
it did. It had the run of the race, I reckon.
Yeah, it
1,000
did.
wishes.
Yeah, 100%. All favours to it. Mine, I'm trying to think back now. Oh, yeah, Dr. Drill and Be Good to Your Mother. Both ran well. They just didn't feature. Dr. Drill I thought he'd be in the top 4 of the race and he was last. So,
Yeah, that was interesting.
But definitely one to watch. Your best each way got scratched.
It got scratched.
Yulong
De Beer.
January.
Yulong January.
Tough run.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was sitting wide the trip.
Yeah. Shabao ran a nice third.
It did.
Yeah.
I actually was very impressed by that
Yeah,
one.
he was. He was very good. And then our best of the day. Let's move on, eh? Rubisaki, she'll be back, punters. She'll be back.
Yeah.
Alrighty. The agenda today for this week's episode, punters, we're gonna touch on some horses that we liked from last weekend. We're gonna jump into some Polo Recipients as well. We'll jump into the meeting preview of the Sydney card. While we'll touch on the juicy stakes as always, mate.
Yeah. Let's get into it, mate.
Alrighty. Horses that caught our eye.
Mate, Glenn Fiddick
Yes.
ran third in the Memsey. Ran a really nice race. I don't think it had to do too much.
No. Drew the white barrier, so I had to do a bit of work early.
Yeah.
But, mate, against his own age group.
Oh, mate, against other 3-year-olds, yeah, really interesting to see how it stacks up. Obviously, there's some really hot 3-year-olds racing this spring.
Mate, it's almost as good as last spring's 3-year-olds. Like
Yeah.
Bivouac, Love and Gabby, Exceedance, Microphone.
Yeah, jeez.
Speaking of.
Yeah, so that's one. Did you have Glenn Fiddick as well?
No, I didn't. I didn't actually have anyone out of the feature myself, but Nonconformist was the big flashing light for me. I think he's known for Cox Plate, Caulfield Cup, Melbourne Cup. He ran the quickest, I think, 1,000 home of that race.
Okay, yeah.
And he just got way too far back. And yeah, he's on to bigger and better things.
Yeah, I agree. To be completely honest, the horse just left my mind. I was thinking about horses to watch, but now that you say that makes a lot of sense.
Diamond Effort, mine.
Mate, I've got Liar and Diamond Effort as sort of together.
Well found by us.
Yeah.
Diamond Effort 3 wide the trip when it was pretty windy. First up, others were entitled to run past her. They couldn't.
Oh, geez, that's a decent horse. She's certainly one to watch, and obviously Liar found some trouble trying to get a gap, but once she did, she ran really nicely.
Typical of her.
Yeah, she's one of those horses that, similar to Cascadian, can find some trouble. But her return, her last few runs with the blinkers on down in Adelaide, all really good. So yeah definitely one to follow.
No, the Godolphin Blue Silks just screaming home. Always a flash in my life for me. They suck me in each time.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for some nice Godolphin fillies slash mares.
Mate, my last one is Rothfire in that exhibition gallop last weekend at Eagle Farm.
Yeah, right.
Was it Doomben? Either way. Mate, so let me... Stats. 32 second last 600. 20.7 last 400. Like, it was a pretty rock hard deck that they were running on, but like that is some serious galloping.
Gee whiz.
Like that was rivaling what Anders was doing in his early sectionals. He was doing that at the end of it.
That's a horse.
Mate, he's
Queenslander.
Yeah. So
what did Heathcote have to say?
There was a lot of people going like, oh, yeah, as if he was run that time. But he's like, no, I clocked it at home, and he was run that time, so he was stoked with it. So yeah, no, he's I'd say, because he's going run to the Rose, Golden Rose, and then from there, if he doesn't get an Everest spot, they're going to take him to the Coolmore Derby Day. I'd say so.
You love to see that.
Yeah, you do. So they've got options. Hopefully he gets it. I'd love to see him in an Everest against the older horses.
Yeah, well, 3-year-old won last year.
Yes.
So they've proven that they can do it.
Yeah, 100%.
Last one for me, Holyfield. So obviously, same silks as Anders.
Yes.
But so it won in Rose Hill on the weekend from the front in a Group 3 race. Timmy Clark got an easy lead and held on. It's actually 4 from 7, so it's won 4 out of 7 races, and it's $26 for the Caulfield Guineas at the moment.
We backed him in one of the 2-year-old features, and he missed the start by about 6 lengths. And ever since then, it was one of the ones that King Legacy won, and
I can't remember that.
Yeah, So ever since then, I've been off him.
Yeah, okay. I found him twice. So. Yeah, look, it was an easy run, but it just one to watch, and trainers are pretty positive about it. So.
Yeah, 100%. I wish I'd known that Kieran Maher actually had flown to Sydney from Melbourne to watch Anders run last weekend. I wish I'd known that before the race. He had to isolate for 2 weeks prior to that just to see this horse run.
Yeah, right.
So he's got a pretty big opinion of it. They've confirmed there's going to the Moir Stakes at Moonee Valley. So... yeah, nice one. Righty, mate. Polo Recipients. Kick us off with your top tier.
Mate, and this was suggested to us during the week by a mate, but you can't go past Queensland this week. You just can't. We've got the AFL Grand Final in Queensland. Yeah. Who would have thought in our lifetime that would happen? Because isn't the deal with the MCG, with the AFL to host a Grand Final until like 2050 something?
Yeah, forever.
Yes, it's essentially forever. And, obviously COVID's just thrown a sparrow in the works in a lot of ways. Yeah. It's also created some pretty interesting opportunities. So go Queensland. Also, like springtime in Queensland, how good's the weather been?
I know.
Some of that for me.
Down, birds are chirping.
Yep.
What a time to be alive.
Yep.
Couldn't agree more, mate. My top tier, and it's a bit of a sad one, Sub-Zero. Passing away.
Oh yeah, mate. That is a sad top tier.
It is, but he deserves it, mate. Him and Graham Salisbury. He used to be the clerk at the course with Subby. Mate, the amount of things that horse did away from racing.
Oh mate, enormous career post racing.
Just went to hospitals. Would have got a few cashy events at Crown Casino. I've heard mate. They took him to Crown Casino in the lifts, like. So I heard one of the, I think it was John Hawkes during the week, or one of the Hawkes boys, say that they couldn't even get Chautauqua to leave the gates, but this guy would go up lifts.
Yeah, comparing two greys, and the Sub-Zero is a funny one. Because he is such a striking grey colour, all the sort of generation above us from a punting perspective can all remember him really clearly. And my dad actually found him in the Melbourne Cup when he won that day. And I don't know what he was paying or anything like that, but
it was. I actually watched the race, and I saw on Twitter they had so many tributes about him.
Yep.
A grey horse, another thing. Loved the wet.
Yep.
And it was pissing down that day. And I actually went through his stats just to have a look. 3-time Group 1 winner.
Yep.
He was a maiden until he won one of the 3-year-old Group 1s in Adelaide.
Yep.
And Melbourne Cup he won. That was the last race he won. So
there you go.
So I think they kind of fluked it, but it doesn't really matter. It's
a cult hero.
He is. And sad to see him pass away, but he gave so much to racing, and the industry was much better for him. So I hope they honour him in the right way. I've heard that they might be call the Flemington mounting yard the Sub-Zero mounting yard or something, which would be fantastic.
Yep.
But we'll see in due time. Alrighty, your middle.
Mate, I reckon Tagaloa is my middle tier. Look, he was a great return. He ran third on the weekend, and I think, did you tip him as well as me?
Yeah, me, you, Bradley.
Bradley as well. Yeah. Middle tier because it was a good return, but geez, did Michael Walker sort of get in front with the jockey, get in front with 50 metres to go and sort of...
Funny you mentioned it.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
so, yeah, look, I thought it almost looked like he took the pedal off the metal.
Yeah.
Yeah, not insinuating anything at all, but it almost looked like it's like, oh, I'm home here, and then didn't see the horses swooping. So, good run, but still a bit irked by that.
Yeah. My middle tier was actually the AFL Grand Final announcement.
Okay.
It's the reason why I've delegated it. You couldn't go past Subby on top, but I wanted to read out something, right? So, I don't know if you saw this yesterday. So, we record on Thursday, punters. It got announced yesterday on Wednesday. But the WA Premier...
Some salt?
Oh, mate. The saltiest man in Australia. So, I'll read word for word what he said. They just decided to go somewhere else. Western Australia obviously has the best stadium, the strongest AFL crowd, and the most healthy and safe environment, but they went to Queensland for other reasons, obviously. So good luck to them. So I was like, gee, he hasn't missed anyone there.
No, he's literally just let out a full barrel of bloody shots.
Yeah, so I just thought, that took the gloss off it a little bit.
Yeah. Well, it was... the funny thing as well is that Gill sort of came out and said that second place was... Adelaide.
Yeah.
So it's like, Queensland's got it. Second place, Adelaide. And, WA, no, don't worry about it.
It would have to be because it's so far away.
Has to be.
But make it perfect now, mate, is if the Lions locked horns with West Coast at the Gabba and the Lions did them.
Oh, gee whiz. Wouldn't that be nice?
Alrighty, bottom tier, mate. Who's looking awful this week?
Oh, man, I'm going to give out 2 bottom tier polos. One's to Ruby Saki. I'm sorry, girl. That was a flop. That was a genuine flop on the weekend.
Very harsh.
But you know what? I will forgive 100%. The other one was the fact that Australia is officially in a recession now.
Yeah.
He had a 7% drop in GDP last year. Like, this isn't a podcast about economics. There's plenty of them already in existence. But it's just not what you want to see.
No, it's really not. Can't argue with those. Ruby Saki's a bit harsh, I reckon. Rock hard deck. She's suited with a bit more sting out. Patton was against her. Three wide.
I may or may not have whacked her on the weekend. So I'm a little bit dirty, but I'll forgive.
Oh, of course, mate. My bottom tier was actually Michael Walker. So, for 2 reasons. Now, I'll caveat, I actually think he's a brilliant rider.
100%.
And, he gave Tagaloa one of the great steers in the Blue Diamond earlier this year, and I think he's actually one of the better jockeys in Australia. But I think he did put the cue in the rack in the last 50 for Tagaloa.
I think so.
Which, we had our Let It Ride last week with Bradley going on the nostrils and it didn't salute. We were obviously on it as well. But, if he actually rides it out, does it win? I don't know.
Oh, it's hard to say, but it certainly appeared as if... Yeah. But
to add insult to injury, he weighed in light on Sunday. So a horse, Exelman or something, he went out, he weighed out correct weight, came back in light, horse gets disqualified. So imagine punters across Australia who are absolutely filthy about that, connections, everyone. Like you never see it. And he owned it 100%, but he's had a pretty bad weekend.
Yeah, Michael Walker's had a shocker.
And credit to the bookies, I must say. At least Bet Easy and maybe others, they basically gave punters their money back, which is good to see.
That is good to see.
The punters get burned,
especially because the betting agencies are doing it so tough at the moment. So it's
increased turnover.
It's great to see.
Alrighty, mate. Let's get stuck in then. Our meeting preview. Race 1 at Randwick. So, race 1, mate, is a 1,100 metre contest for mares in a handicap. How'd you rate it?
Mate, I found it a tough start to the day.
Yeah, tricky, isn't it?
It is, but I'm with number 4 Theory. if you have a look at its last race, I think it did enough first up to warrant backing it second up. Look, Godolphin horse, J-Mac on the back. It's drawn nicely. Yeah. That's it. Look, the other horse as well is number 3, Fanciful Dream, which actually beat Ethereal last start. It's well into its prep, and I think Ethereal will improve enough.
I'm going for one that was at a pretty big price, and it actually ran third to those two last race.
Tell me more.
Look Only, number 8. So,
okay.
2 runs this prep, both on a heavy, which, looking at its profile, is definitely not the ground it wants to run on. You look at its last race, it finished 4 lengths behind Ethereum, the other one. But it was on a treadmill through that ground.
Okay.
Back on top of the ground this week, drawn well. I think it could run a race.
Mate, and looking at its profile, I think it's a suitable profile.
Like, I'm more than happy to find out at the price. So,
of course you are.
Of course I am. So
26, don't be silly.
$26 in the first. Could you imagine how the possibilities of the day if your roughie gets up in the first?
They're endless.
They are endless.
Mate, $2.50 each way.
Oh, man.
and you're on.
Yeah. How many units is that up? But trust me, we'll be struggling by the last race on the card. But, that's fine, mate. If our Sydney form is anything to go by, gee whiz, treat these two as a scratching. All right. So
we're glass half full types on this podcast.
Absolutely. All right. So yeah. All right. I think we're around the money there. So basically, the top 3 from that race last time, we think will be first over the line. Alrighty, mate. Race 2 is a 1,200 meter. Oh.
It's a highway.
I forgot.
The old Winnie Blues special.
The old Winnie Blues Stakes, mate. Alrighty. I reckon. So let me have a look at the little prize money here. So first place gets 35 grand, and I reckon a carton of Winnie Blues smokes.
Mate, I reckon a carton of Winnie Blues Smokes is as good as it's ever going to get for some of these horses. Yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
No knock.
Well, it's a shame that It's Me was scratched because...
Oh, yeah, it is, yeah.
Like, she was really good last start. I was actually quite keen to see her again, but she opened up $1.70. Like, this is, by all means, a no betting race for me. I'm not even going to bother.
Mate, look, I'm going to have an each way on number 3, Feel the Night. Look, it's drawn well. Its last one actually looked pretty good. The run before that, it sort of pulled up and ran sort of midfield. All its wins are on a dry track. So, look, I'll have a nice each way on it.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
I tipped number 5, Absolute Trust, on top with absolutely no confidence. So,
yeah, I reckon punters, if you want to play in that race, good luck to you.
I'd use 1/10 of a unit.
Yeah. Maybe just chuck on just a random as first 4 Joe Exotic and just see what happens.
Oh, yeah. Remember we were doing that in the autumn?
Yeah.
That was funny. Yeah. We were basically just chucking on, what were they? They were mystery
bets.
Mystery trifectas.
Yeah, mystery trifectas. Yeah. So
none of them landed.
Yeah, none of them landed. Funny that.
Yeah, that was a bit fun. But yeah, I reckon a random number generator could tip this race better than me. I reckon. I just couldn't wrap my head around it, but that's all right.
It was a genuine Rubik's Cube type.
Yes, it was. Okay, race 3, 1,300 meters, benchmark 72 handicap, mate. What are your thoughts?
Mate, again, look, another tough race, but the number 6, Archana, it's a 3/4 sister to the Autumn Sun, which I found quite interesting. Second up here, chased really hard last start. I think its 600 to 200 meter time was pretty impressive. I can't remember what it was off the top of my head, but look, in this race, you might have looked at the speed map and you can see the horses that have drawn barriers closer to the rail should bring some early speed into the race. Achana's not a leader, but based on those sort of closing sectionals, maybe she can chase after the tide leaders and who knows? Maybe get the chocolates.
Who knows? I've opted for a runner here that it was actually accepted in, I think, the first leg of the quaddie as well, but they've opted to run it in this race. She has form around Holyfield because she beat home Bazooka last start, and Bazooka ran second to Holyfield last week.
Right, okay.
So, number 8, Giovanna Run.
I like the look of that horse as well, man.
Yeah.
So that's a great shout.
Lightly raced, so it is a bit of a punt, and you don't really know if it's going to handle being on top of the ground, but I think it's drawn well. There's a bit of speed in this race, so it can actually just camp behind the leaders. Got no weight on its back. I'll find out.
Soft hands on
Kathy.
the back.
Yes, absolutely. So yes, I reckon she can run into the money for me,
mate. That's a great shout. I'll back you in on that as well. I think that that's the other horse that caught my eye.
Oh, one of the features, mate. Race 4, Group 3, Concord.
There's a horse running in this race you might have heard of before, and we might have spoken about it on the podcast in the past. Nature Strip.
Yes.
Yeah, you're across it?
Yeah.
Good.
I'm aware of his work.
Mate, it's good to see him back, and love that G-Trial's up against him, because if you remember, and for punters who remember, obviously G-Trial got the better of Nature Strip when Nature Strip was fresh last prep.
Yeah.
And that he was heavily backed that day. Nature Strip, he was whacked by half the country.
Yes.
So yeah, in this though, if he runs it at his potential, he'll win it.
Yeah.
So I'm with Nature Strip, but G Trial is always going to be a threat.
He is, and you're getting a fifth of the price that he was when he rolled him in the Lightning.
Yeah.
So, but you had Red Zell, Loving Gabby. That was a much deeper race.
It was.
Yeah, I think Chris Waller has got this guy figured out now. He's given him an extra trial as well, so I think he'll be pretty well on the money. To be honest, I didn't really even do the form for it. I was like, I think Nature Strip's on top.
Oh yeah, yeah. Agreed.
And he's drawn the widest barrier in the race, which is perfect for him. When he draws in, he can sometimes miss it, and then
I think I want to see him do really well. And I think most of Australia will be behind us when we say that.
Yeah. No bet race for me, but that's all right. Alrighty, mate. Race 5, 1,500 metre, benchmark 94, handicap.
Mate, I'm with number 13, Canaan, in this. I backed it last start. He finished midfield. It was Wink Stakes day, if you remember the race.
Yeah.
I'm expecting some pretty decent improvement from Canaan in this. And the Waller camp is targeting, the Group 3 Naturalism Stakes on September 19th. So the winner of that race obtains a ballot exemption for the Caulfield Cup. Obviously, Canaan's, one of those horses that needs to win probably this and then that, obviously, to really actually do anything in the Caulfield Cup. But look, I think there's some positivity around the horse from the Waller camp. I backed it last start. It ran well enough. I think it's going to have some decent improvement here, so happy to go with it again. Yeah.
No, it was one of the flashing lights. Up until about the 200, I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
But he's Caulfield Cup's 2,400. He's that type of horse.
Yep.
And that was 1,200, 1,400 maybe. I can't remember. But he was getting hot late, which is what you want to see from those resuming stayers. I could see him running a nice race. I think the one that, for me, that I've tipped on top is number 8, Think It Over, who I think Sweat might have tipped in the quaddie last time. But, yeah, I reckon this gelding, again, he's one that will thrive getting back on top of the ground. I think there's going to be a stack of those horses over the coming weeks.
How good is it having bloody dry tracks?
It's so good. So good. Alrighty, so yeah, I think Drawn Well can sit up near the speed, just behind the leaders, which is where you want to be. I reckon, yeah, Bossy on the back.
Bossy!
Never a bad thing. Yeah, each way price. I'll have a go each way easily.
Yeah, look, J-Max on the back of Canaan.
Yeah.
And he's in some ripping form, so I'm confident that it'll run a race. But yeah, look, not a bad shout from you, mate.
Thanks, mate. Alrighty, we're going to take a brief break, but we'll be back in a second.
And even better than before.
Yes. Alrighty, and we're back just like that.
For the first leg of the quaddie.
Mate.
How good's the timing?
Funny that. Mate, into what is a cracking 4 legs of the quaddie, I reckon.
It is.
Yeah.
It really is.
Mate.
Some awesome horses.
I gave you the better half of the card last week, and I gave you the rags this week.
Mate, you're throwing me under a bus this week.
But,
I was looking at him. I was like, mate. I was like, where's me bloody calculator to try and calculate some of these bloody horses' form lines?
Yeah,
So I couldn't do it in my head.
bloody tough, isn't it? All
Oh,
right.
mate, it's all right. You know, you get that on the big jobs.
You really do.
And especially if some of them win, I look like a genius.
100%.
I'm certainly not.
100%. All right. Alrighty, mate. So who have you got on top in the Furious Stakes?
Oh, mate, this was a tough one to pick.
Yep.
My on top horse. It's a ripper race. 3 horses though I've sort of got my eye on. So number 1, Dame Giselle.
Yep.
Number 3, Hungry Heart, and number 5, Vangelic. I think, obviously, look, Dame Giselle was really impressive last start when it won the Group 2 Silver Shadow. Vangelic, the number 5, actually trialled behind Nature Strip.
Yes.
So I'm going to chuck it on top.
I like it.
And look, in this race, it's drawn well. It's first up, so that's obviously a query. But really interested to see how it goes. The Waterhouse stables had good things to say about it. Timmy Clark on the back, he's in some great form. But yeah, look, Hungry Heart, I think, is a great shout, as is Dame Giselle. Might have a little sneaky trifecta on.
Why not, mate? I've taken a bit of an alternative form line, but it's still through the same horses. I'm happy to risk Dame Giselle because she didn't run a faster time than the Highway that day. Like, It's Me ran a quicker time, and that's a severe drop in grade. So I'm kind of
Highway, a drop in grade.
I'm kind of sacking everything from that race. So Dame Giselle, Thermosphere, no thanks. And I think Thermosphere is a bit of a wet tracker anyway.
Yep.
Watch it win now. But that's all right. I think the 2 most likely winners in the race are Hungry Heart, but I can't understand why there's a horse nearly 4 times its price that finished 1 length away from it last prep. I can't understand that. And that is the 2, Stella Pauline.
Who's riding these odds?
Like, I know. It just makes no sense to me. I concede that Hungry Heart is probably going to be the better horse.
Yep.
But Stella Pauline broke through for a maiden win last start. Won by 2.5 lengths over 1,100 metres, which I always like to see. Proven on top of the ground.
Yep.
Was only a length away from Hungry Heart last prep.
Yeah, and Hungry Heart looks to be a smart horse.
She does, but she's first up since the slipper. That's a pretty long let off, and I don't know. I'm happy to go with Stella Pauline on top at $11.
Yeah, and I think that's why I've got Vangelic on top. At that price, I'm happy to have it on top. But yeah, definitely have my eye on Hungry Heart.
Yeah, I think, might be a pretty wide leg in the quaddie, but happy for that.
Mate, you'd rather be alive in the quaddie and have it wide.
Yes, unless you get knocked out by 80 to 1 pop, like we did last week. Alrighty, mate, the Chelmsford. So, I brought you some stats last week. I'm going to bring you some stats this week.
Mate, you know I love it, and I know you love stats. Hit me.
Founded in 1895. Yeah.
Gee whiz.
I know, mate. I know. It's been a Group 2 since 1980. So prior to that, meh. But, still time on it. Previous winners. Let me run through some of these for you. Hartnell. I think punters.com actually put up like top 5 of previous winners. Hartnell won this race by like 8 lengths one year.
Holy
8 of them. Mate, made him look like the Highway was behind him.
Jeez, he was a good horse.
It wasn't
Underrated.
Yeah, right in his prime. Bang. Long row. Go long row, go. Winks, Might and Power, Far Lap. Some serious animals in here, mate. Oh, yeah. And I thought I'd bring up, which was pretty terrible memories for everyone, who won it last year. Summer Doubt.
I was like, I've got no clue who won it last year, but now you said that.
Avilius was favourite.
Yeah, I whacked Avilius that day.
And Summer Doubt, he won the Winks 2 weeks prior. So VE's not here, so she can't win this.
No, she can't.
No.
She's not in the race.
Yeah, so Summer Doubt won the Winks, went here, got to the lead. It was all over. So, who'd you land on top here, mate?
Mate, again, another race where a few things caught my eye. I'm not going to put this thing on top, but it definitely wants further. But one I want to watch is the number 8, Shared Ambition. It looks a really smart horse, so let's just say I'll keep an eye on that. Not going to punt on it.
On Shared Ambition, Chris Boller is taking the Bart Cummings, because they're targeting it to the Melbourne Cup.
Yep.
They're taking the Bart Cummings preparation, so they need to get 10,000 metres in it in racing before the Melbourne Cup.
Right, okay.
So it's going to do plenty of racing, and you basically forget that went around last start, where it was, 1,200, 1,400 or something? So, yeah, 1,400 on a bottomless track. Sorry, mate, I blocked his flow there. So who else you
No, that's fine, mate. Glad that you said that, because it's, I wouldn't be surprised if it runs a decent race, but I would be surprised if it wins. The other two horses that caught my eye, number 13, Zabrowski, and number 14, Natoya. Look, to be honest, I can't really split them at this stage. Look, I'll make a decision for the quaddie, and I'll make a decision come race day. Natoya, for me, obviously it's resuming after a decent spell, but loves Randwick. If you look at its form on Randwick, I think it's got 5 wins. Out of something like 7 races. Let me have a look at that.
Her last prep was unbelievable, winning the Doncaster.
Yeah.
And first up, her first up profile's not that strong, but
it's not.
She won first up last prep over, I think, 1,600 as well. So it looks like they're going for a pretty similar prep with her again. Yeah,
so look, Natoya I like in this, and Zabrowski as well, who Milne had on top a few weeks ago in the Wing Stakes. So look, really keen to see how it goes as well. I think $7 is a really good price for it. So
we saw the race pretty similarly. I looked at this race, 16 runners, 14 of them want it over further.
Yeah. Yes, agreed.
The ones that don't are Mr. Seawolf, who doesn't go a yard at Randwick, so line through him.
I looked at Mr. Seawolf and I looked at him. I was like, "Well, Macca's surely going to chuck him in."
Well, surely not. And Natoya, they were the ones at the distance that they're the ones that are going to be running on better than these stayers. So I was keen on Natoya until I heard Wendy Roche, the trainer, today on RSN. So she was like, she just trials like Natoya. She's like, plays up a bit, doesn't really care. But she said, they were saying, oh yeah, so what's the winning chances on the weekend? She's like, I reckon she could maybe place. I was like, okay. Okay, so if you can maybe place against some resuming stayers, that's dented my confidence a bit. I definitely want to.
It's a red flag.
It is, and so I've opted for who you went with on top. The other one you were saying is Zabrowski. I think he's come back really well. So he's now my on top selection because I've gone off Natoya a bit. I'm actually not too keen to play in this race, to be honest.
No.
Because like Angel of Truth is the one that I thought could come back well under a new stable, but looking at his form profile, he doesn't go a yard on top of the ground. So it's really hard to put together. Yeah.
Hey, mate, do you know what's absolutely hilarious? There's a horse that we haven't even mentioned, apart from the fact that it was the favourite last year. Number 1, Villiers.
Big A.
Oh, look, he could run a race and he could win, but I'm just off him. I'm off him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah, I think... Look, he's much better the Sydney way of going, but he needs it wet. I think on top of the ground's not his go for mine, especially when he gets a bit older. This distance isn't his go. I think I can't understand why he's favourite, to be honest. So I'm happy to, be right against him as well. So definitely chuck him into your quaddies now, punters, because he will probably win. Alrighty.
Well, he's going to be in ours.
Yeah. Alrighty. Race 8, punters. The Tramway. Good race, this.
Mate, this is a cracking race.
I reckon this is the best betting race of the day for mine. Who'd you land on top?
Oh, mate. I know what you went, and I was looking at that. I'm not going to pick that on top. Look, I think this race is just more suited to Dreamforce. He was disappointing last start, but loves the track. This distance I think is more suited. I think he should get a pretty comfortable lead. So yeah, look, I'm happy to have Dreamforce on top for this. Really keen to see Colette go and see how it goes. But I think she might want a bit further.
Yeah. No, 100%. I thought this race lined up pretty well for Dreamforce, but that was a savagely run race last start in the Winks, and I don't know if he needs more than 2 weeks of a break. I had to look through his form profile, and I couldn't really see anything that would suggest that. So, I think he'll run a really nice race for you. But the one I've got on top is number 9, Reloaded, and I'm chips in on this guy.
Gee whiz, that keen.
Yeah, I'm really keen on him. So I just think I've had a look at a few of his trials, and he looks like he's switched on now, and he's a proper horse now.
He's not gelded, is he?
No, he's so they'd want to win some good black type races with him. There was a big spruik for him when he was a 2 and 3 year old, especially early days, but he just didn't really furnish. And I read that JMac during the week, they were like, oh yeah, who are you keen on the weekend? He's like, oh yeah, Nature Strip, but the one I'm really keen on is Reloaded.
Okay, yeah.
He said he didn't come on from a 2-year-old to a 3-year-old, but now he's grown into a 4-year-old. So he's a big boy now. And he said he could explode.
Interesting.
So he's nommed for the Cox Plate. This might be a bit short for him over the 1400, but
one to watch,
mate. $11. I will find out,
mate. Definitely. And there's a few horses in this race that'll be interesting to watch from this race onwards. Vanna Girl, it's ran up here a few times, and it's run the Quinella 9 times in 10 starts, and horses like that, whilst obviously different states, different quality, what have you, when horses win that frequently, there's got to be something about them. Number 5, Rock.
Off him. Yeah, off him, but he wouldn't surprise. The market's always pretty well for that horse, but yeah, I can't remember the last time he won, so I picked him in the Group 1, that Fierce Impact one, and he did not much. But Vanna Girl's an interesting one, mate. I reckon she could be one that features as well. So I'm really keen to play in this race. Reloaded on top for me with Dreamforce, and I might chuck in Vanna Girl into my exotics as well, and I might even chuck in Colding. You'd never know.
I was just looking at Colding and got a soft spot for him, obviously.
$12.
$12, yeah.
Like,
mate, $5.3 million in prize money for Colding.
Golden Eagle helps. Doncaster helps. Epsom helps.
So
he didn't win a Doncaster. I'm thinking of Brutal.
Anyways, look, great race and really keen to see how it pans out.
Yes.
And definitely some to watch from it.
Yeah. No. Alrighty, mate. The Get Out Stakes. There's one really, really well in the market, but I think you've gone outside him, have you?
I have. No knock on Masked Crusader at all. But it's one of those things as a punter, you find a horse and you've backed it so many times, and it's always found one better so many times, but you just know the one time that you don't back it, it'll bloody win. So I'm just going to keep backing it until it wins. Number 12, Ice Bath.
Not again.
Look, it kept going last start and kept chasing, but it has a really soft draw in this, and I think hoping for some improvement. I'm gonna go it on top, $6. Why not each way? Because even if it doesn't win, obviously it's going to run second or third.
Yes, that it would suggest that. Masked Crusader. To put it bluntly, I think he's better than 78 grade.
Yeah.
He'll take care of this lot.
Yeah?
Yep, he'll take care of him.
Mate, no knock. Like I said, no knock on Masked Crusader, but you just have those little things as a punter, like superstitious things.
Yeah.
If something keeps placing for you, you got to back it until it wins.
Yes. I'm interested to see why Zakat, the one that beat home Ice Bath, is $14. That makes no sense in my market, but anyway, doesn't really matter because it's going to run second to Masked Crusader anyway. So
You are a confident man.
Oh mate, I think it's just way out of its grade, and it's not. They've got an apprentice claiming on it, but I still don't think that will matter. Like, it's only giving away 3.5 kilos to the bottom weight. Like, yeah, it'll take care of them.
Silly stuff.
Alrighty, mate. Well, let's get stuck in then to our favourite segment, the Juicy Stakes.
How good's a juicy steak?
It's fantastic, and we try and raise some money for living legends each week, and we keep on messing it up. But we've given them $30. Let's try and...
Yeah, we have. We've given them $30, so we are raising money for them. It's just at a snail's pace as opposed to a rapid growth pace
that is true.
That we would prefer. Alrighty,
so, mate, let's start it off. Your best roughie of the day.
Mate, I couldn't really find a roughie. I've got a few at a nice each way price on the weekend. Look, you look at your likes of your Natoyas, your Zabrowskis, Vangelic's sort of $11. Would you class that as a roughie?
Look, I think I threw in one at $11 last time, so...
Well, yeah. Let's go with number 5 Vangelic in race 6 as my roughie for the week. I think at $12, keen to have a play each way, punters.
Mate, you might not have actually had time to see it, but it is virtually the exact same race at Moonee Valley, and Fine Dane is $41.
Oh no!
So
I've missed it.
You've missed it, but I've got you back, mate. So. Different race. Rulership is backing up, and they're taking it down to Moonee Valley. Hanseatic, the once Blue Diamond favourite, is resuming, which will be good to see. Brooklyn Hustle, Witherspoon, Bella Vella, the Group 1 winner from Adelaide. Bonds Away, Fine Dane, Ashlaw, and Dispatch. Pretty nice race.
Mate, well, I definitely looked at that race, but clearly didn't pay any attention to anything outside of the first few you mentioned.
So,
but yeah, look, I'll have a play at Fine Dane. Why not?
41, mate. It's the big overs in the race, so can't knock you for that. But for what it's worth for me, I won't be having a bet, but I'll be cheering home Brooklyn.
I know you'll be cheering home Brooklyn, mate. So I hope it goes well for you.
Thanks, mate. Alrighty, my roughie is race 1, number 8. Look only at $26.
Great shout.
Nothing
more needs to be said, punters.
No, and I just think back on top of the ground will give us a good shout. See how we go.
Play on.
Alrighty, mate. Best each way.
Canane. number 13 in race 5.
Big improver.
Randwick. Yeah, I think it's going to run a good race. I've got a bit of a feeling about it. I think there'll be some good improvement. I think currently paying about $6. So cover yourself with the each way bet.
Nice. Reloaded for me. Race 8, number 9 at $11. I've taken that, and I'll probably have more. This is at the price. This is the best bet of the day for me.
Okay, play on.
So, I'm super, super keen on him. Shout out Milne again, because he's been messaging me about it. So, yeah.
Love to see it.
Love to see it. Alrighty, mate. Here we go. Your best of the day.
Mate, it's racing in the Valley of Death, Moonee Valley.
Wow.
Race 5, number 6. Have a little look-see at that and tell me what your thoughts are.
Race 5.
Race 5.
Number 6.
Number 6.
Yes.
Showmanship. So we had it last start. Ran well, coming on really wide.
Yes.
Against the pattern of the day.
Yep.
Keen to have another whack at it. What's a pain at the moment? $2.
210 on my screen at the moment. So yeah, can't knock that. Age of Chivalry is the big danger there.
It is. But I think Showmanship's a decent horse.
Yeah.
So keen to play.
I think, Age of Chivalry I think will be suited out to 1400. I reckon. But off his first up run, he's the big danger. I think it's between those two, to be honest. I'm just a bit skeptical about the whole Moonee Valley card in general. I was called off because of rain 2 weeks ago, and I just don't know.
Yeah, you said that. Yeah,
if that lane because the rail was out 5 meters, if that lane that they were all winning on the rail, I don't know if they'll be able to run on there, because it would just be like
turned up.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's more of a watch meeting for me. I'm not too keen to bet into anything. But
yeah. Look, I'm not going to give Moonee Valley a decent whack this weekend, but there's a few horses that I will have a punt on.
Look, no surprise. Masked Crusader in the Get Out Stakes in Sydney.
Thought that might be the case.
So I'm super keen on him. And you know what, mate? Between us, we're going to start a let it ride between us. I'm going to kick us off Masked Crusader to win. See how we go. Alrighty. We're also going to finish this off with a bit of a different thing. So we're going to have a Polo Punt Club multi. So
cross code.
So we're going to have a horse each, which is going to be our best, obviously. And then I'm going to choose something from the AFL sphere, and Jonesy's going to choose something from the NRL. So, mate, who have you landed on in the NRL even?
Mate, so we're going to go winner plus margin.
Mm-hmm.
So, mate, I've got the Penrith Panthers to beat the Bronx tonight, 13 plus.
Standard.
I think it's about $1.30 odd.
Which is in a multi, mate. That's fine.
That's fine. And then I've got Nathan Cleary, anytime try scorer, $2.88. There's a weird stat floating around that if Penrith are ahead by 6 points in the last 10 or 5 minutes of a game, he scores like 30 to 40% of the time, which is a weird stat, I know, but
that is a weird stat
for any time try scorer.
Oh yeah,
how good he just, mate. When the defense is tired and they're ahead, all game he'll be passing, he'll be kicking behind the line when they're close to the try, and sometimes he just runs himself at the end of the game. So, and then do we want just to use our BB, the best bet?
Yeah,
as multi, so Showmanship. Yep. That's
so
my contribution.
That's good, mate. So on top of Masked Crusader, I'm gonna. So all right, I don't like doing this. I hate betting on my team. So, but
you don't have to do it, mate.
I have to. So because they haven't put out the markets for like the next round.
Okay.
So, and I wasn't too keen on the others. So I've gone Brisbane against Collingwood, which in itself is a danger game for me. The Pies always turn up against the Lions, but
they've found some form recently.
Yeah, they're still... Yeah. Lions have been average, Pies have been average, but I'll back the Lions in. 1 to 39, and I'm going Zork. Anytime goal scorer.
We love you, Zork. Shout out.
Yeah. So I think you can get like $3 or $4 for that. So and lob that in with Masked Crusader. If we lob everything together, we'll get like 20 to 1, I reckon. So
Yeah, nice.
So
What do we want to start with? Tenner?
yeah, we'll start tenner. Easy. Alrighty.
The Polo Punt Club multi.
Yeah.
Cross code.
You know who's going to thrive in this? Joshua. J-Mac.
J-Mac will love it.
He'll love it. Alrighty, guys. That's the show. Another one in the books. Another one done. So, yeah. Thanks for tuning in. Give us a like and a follow on Twitter and Instagram.
We're on YouTube.
We are on YouTube. You stole my words, mate. Our lighting's looking really nice. So that's good. And you can listen to us wherever you listen to your podcast. But if you're listening to this, you probably don't need to know that. But
Exactly
until
right.
next time, guys, we'll see you then.
All the best punters.